Um, it is Tuesday, August 8th. September 8th, 2015. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the purpose of life. And when we look at life around us, we are able to observe something about life forms. They give. They are in a perpetual state of creating. And so that is the function of being alive, perhaps even existing, is to give. And when such a one, does receive, it is only for the purpose of receiving, to transform or transmute or rearrange whatever the thing is that you've received into something that can be given. We are not. Life is not about taking and hoarding and obtaining for the sole purpose of possessing a thing. It's mine. Just look at nature. Look at anything in nature, and you can see. And even when a living thing does receive, it's with the quote understanding that it is for a purpose of giving. And so that's where humans screw themselves over. It's because we step out of this natural cycle, the cycle of life, the cycle of recycling. We step out of it. And that's why so many people when we talk about nature, it's us and nature, is the perception that so many have. And that is something that we do to ourselves. We get greedy. We want. We put ourselves in that mind place of wanting. When a previous recording we already talked about this, that the reality is that all is already ours, but just by perceiving that it isn't already ours, that it's shared and that it's moved along and that there's a whole purpose to this rhythm. When we step out of that rhythm and we say, no, I want to own things. I want. Well, then that does become our reality, because we've chosen to step out of the abundance that is ours to, we don't want to process things. We want to own things. We want to hold on to things. So that's what hurts us. You hear Sammy? He's talking to some other birds. I don't know if everybody is aware that it's a three-way conversation going on between the two other birds and him, or maybe they're just involved in their own discussion and Sammy's just trying to get in on it. Or who knows, maybe he's giving a discourse with all of his wisdom and knowledge, and those birds are saying, "Thank you, Lord. Thank you so much for your insights." Or maybe none of that's happening, and I need to get back to the subject at hand. So, and it shows the power of the mind, because you can see those who live in a place of sharing and using their talents and abilities and the things that they have as far as objects. We could see those people who are in that place and use those things to create further, to continue this process of living. You can feel that type of energy, that life radiating right out of a person who exists in that way, as opposed to people who feel detached from everything, and that, oh, it's everything I can do to just eke out a living for myself, to have the things that I want and need in life, to, you can feel that heavy energy that they are burdening themselves with. And maybe unbeknownst to them, that they're just by that mindset of me, mine, want, need, don't have, others, separation, all of that. So something came to me yesterday. I don't know if this is appropriate to this discussion. Calling it a discussion because I like that word, even though you're not saying anything back. Just, this the story that we're familiar with about the Garden of Eden. And so you have this man in this story, and he's, all of a sudden he exists, this person. We'll say he's a person. He exists. And surrounded with, within and without, everything that's good, everything that's good for him, and he will be our participant in all of it. The higher realms, he has access to that. The lower, so-called lower animals, the plant life, the earth, his own existence. And I just never really thought about how this person was able to, in that setting, was able to come to this feeling or this idea that it's not enough. It's not enough. I see this, I see that, I have this, I have that, blah, 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 but he wanted more. And so He's put to sleep, yada, yada, yada. He wakes up, there's another person there with him now. So, I don't know. I mean, that's just something that I was thinking about yesterday. Just, it's just interesting to me. And then later, how this extension of himself now, really, she was created from him, according to the story, literally. And then she, in her turn, found that having the man, her companion, and having a relationship with the higher realms and with the animal kingdom and with the plants and the earth and everything, that wasn't enough either. The fruit, all the fruit, whatever. It wasn't enough. And so we know the story. You know, she had to have that particular fruit because there wasn't enough good fruit around to satisfy her. She had to have the one. Now it just sounds like the story is just kind of a repeat of this. No, but it's making me think now of maybe the problem is us when we get to. By us, I mean me, when I do it. I don't know. I don't want to put out judgment on other people and stuff. And not even judgment on myself, but just an idea. You know, when I get to a place where I want to receive, and not with the idea of receiving to give back, just to receive. Receive what? Oh, that comes in many different shapes and forms, different ways. Maybe I want to receive material things. Maybe I want to receive attention from. I'm putting myself, and my mindset has become now, I am not already living in abundance. This is inadequate. This, whatever this is, there's something missing. So, that's when there needs to be I need to distinguish. There needs to be a distinction now, because apart from all of nature and everything, and the higher realms and the lower, and the this and the that, let me extract myself from the whole picture of everything. And when you do that, you become I. And now that you've extracted yourself like that from the whole picture, and you're I with a capital I, always with a capital I, right? Well, that isn't complete now. And so, of course, I want. It has to be that way. I want attention, I want recognition, I want material things, I want whatever. Give me a thing. Why? Because now that I've extracted myself from the whole, I am deficient. It's become that. I made it that way. And so can it be that for that pair in the garden, on a level, whatever that means, they extracted themselves from the whole. It's not good enough. I want another person here with me. It's not good enough. I got to have that fruit over there. It's not good enough. See that? And that's when we cause ourselves misery. And that's why this idea of gratitude is such a big deal when it comes to happiness and fulfillment and joy and living. Because when you're living in gratitude, and gratitude is a word, just investigate for yourself what that means. When I say the word gratitude, it's just a recognition that this existence that is experiencing existence, which is in the shape and form of a human being right now, where it's placed in space and time, and is part of the whole, is blended into the whole. Not even part. We are as much part of the whole as a drop of water that is in the ocean. What drop of water? So I think I think the problem is when we think. And so now that's the question. So what you're saying, and we shouldn't be thinking anymore? We shouldn't be using our brains? No. Not in the way that was put there. Instead of just, I'm saying think as opposed to going with the flow. Going with the flow. And you have to think in this place that we exist in to some level to exist. If I come to a red light while I'm driving my vehicle and I don't think, and I run the light, a lot of bad things can happen. So we need to think in that way. But by thinking, there is such a thing as really knowing in yourself what is the best course of action to take in certain, not right or wrong, the best course of action. And that has nothing to do with right or wrong, okay? There's just a naturalness. And right and wrong is also has to do with thinking. So that's not what we're talking about. In life, we have something in us that we'll just call intuition right now to keep it simple. You could tag whatever name you want to it. That idea that you just naturally go with, what follows, however possible it is for you to move that about, you do it. All right. So, if you see a little child getting ready to reach towards something that's going to hurt him, and you just sit there and watch to see the outcome, that's not natural. Okay? That's not natural. That's not, unless you have some real brain damage or something and you just don't have any idea of the impending doom about to take place. So a natural response would be to jump up or to call the child, get their attention, and move them away from the danger. So that's a big example of going with the flow and moving naturally. Now, let's take that other person. Let's take this guy. He doesn't have brain damage or anything like that. Now, he's watching this little child. And he knows that if the child touches that, whatever that thing is right there, that child is going to get hurt. Bad, okay? But this guy decides to just kind of watch it play out. What would you think about such a person? You know? What would you feel? Not even think. What would you feel? And your gut is sickening, right? That somebody would do that. That person is going against the natural course. His participation in that scenario would be to prevent something harmful from happening. All right? So we have this thing built in us that we can utilize. And what happens is, getting back to the thought of we think, and that's a bad thing. Not bad. Sorry, I don't want to say bad. That is the thing that causes us problems, causes us misery and grief. Because when you are in a situation and the natural response comes up in you, these things happen all the time for us. Throughout the day, we are presented with different types of situations. Some are more obviously, what maybe somebody would think of as a big deal, and some are just, seem like minor or trivial situations that come up. That's what people would measure it out as. But when we are presented with those, if we, instead of thinking things through and normally the thinking is basically, how is this going to affect me when everything is said and done? You see? That's not natural, though, to think that through and then okay, so where is that going to leave me? What's natural is to do what's natural. I'm being too vague here. So let's give a situation. So, you're seeing something go down that shouldn't be going down. And you're not in imminent danger. So it's not like that. Obviously, if you see somebody pull out a gun on somebody else and threaten to kill them, you shouldn't jump in like frickin' Rambo or something and say, "Give me that gun. You're not hurting anyone today. Not on my watch." No, that's just dumb. But, if you hear the woman next door getting pounced on, and she's screaming and crying, and her partner is beating the shit out of her, and, you're just like, walk over and close your front door and turn your TV up. Huh? Or let's make it a child instead of two adults, because those situations, you shouldn't just get up, close the door, and say, keep the noise down anyway. But sometimes people live like that, where they understand, you hit me and we have an understanding. We live like this. So we'll just change it up to be a child, okay? Because no child has agreed, yes, this adult should be beating the shit out of me. And so the child's crying or whatever, and then you go over, you close the door, turn your TV up. No, that's fucking insane. But some people do that, you see, because they've thought it through and the CPS is going to be coming on, knocking on my door, and I don't need all that shit. I got enough on my plate already, and I just keep them in my prayers, you see, of course, I'm getting precariously close to right and wrong here, and I don't want to do that, but I'm trying to use an example. That's why I did away with the example of the adults. I'm trying to use an example that is obviously a call upon you or myself to step up and be the human being that we are and say some types of behavior are intolerable, and your natural instinct inside would be that this shouldn't be happening. But when we think, sometimes we think things through, and then we make the decision that's not really in the best interest of everyone involved. So I'm not feeling too great about that example for some reason, because I just really hate to come across like you should do this and you should do that, because that's not how we want to be. But just trying to give an example, because whenever I'm speaking, I try to give examples instead of being so kind of, shadowy, like what could it mean, or just something that could be real life situations that we can, have some more clarity as to what's being said. So, we think about things and then we come to a determination, and oftentimes the determination that we come to is there's an agenda attached to it, like we said, what's the result to me going to be? What's the outcome going to be? How's that going to affect me? Or, those type of things, just selfish. So we want to be more in the flow, I guess. It's very, I think I've come to the conclusion of this recording. It's already 27 minutes and some change. Anyway, I hope that that's been useful somehow. And thank you so much. Have a great day.